Hey guys, this is Kerian Halcyon again on Halcyon Industries, and this has been the first video in a little while. I'd like to apologize for that. However, if you've been checking my Steam Workshop lately, you'll notice that I have been posting a lot of stuff regularly, and that's been kind of what I've been doing over the last couple of days. I've not really done any individual videos to showcase these individual ships that I built, mostly because I haven't had a lot of time to do that, and I'd like to apologize. So instead I've decided to just make this one video to kind of wrap up what I've been doing. For those of you who don't remember from the last little bit that I did, or who have just only recently looked at this, this is basically going to be my little build a fleet project that I'm going to do. It's kind of in response to Wasted Space's little program that he's doing, series he's doing, building a fleet, and he's been kind of doing that, and that kind of inspired me to do that a little bit. And so I managed to finally get all of the fighters done that I've got planned for my fleet. So every one of my fighters are pretty much finished. They may need a little bit of tweaking in the case of a couple, but for the most part they are pretty much done. So I can safely say that all of my fighters in this are pretty much finished, which actually is great timing, because this coming Thursday is going to be the next update, and it is going to be an interesting update for Space Engineers. I'm not going to go into too many details right now. I'll say that for the end of the video. For now, let's just focus on the ships. So, as you can see here, we've got our fighters and their kind of counterparts. Their exploration mode, vanilla-ready counterparts that I've built. You've already seen the first one, the Siafu, which is basically a light fighter, and it's your very simple, light, cheap fighter you send in, it goes in, goes out. It's got the 4 Gatling guns, it's kind of like an interceptor, it's got the exploration. It's not really that much different from the exploration mode version, even though I built this one completely from scratch. It's a pretty good fighter, pretty decent. There's also the first one that I did like the little experiment by making these little boosters on the back. And what I did was I set them up so that, let me go and actually show you. I'll copy and paste this here. Turn that on real quick. Just hop in here real quick. And what I did was I essentially set up these boosters on the back so that they are currently off when flying. So when you start out, it's kind of slow. It's like this is the speed that you want to be at when you're wanting to get out of the hangar. But then when you want to get moving, you just press 3, and it turns on your boosters, and then all of a sudden you go really quickly, and then you can move. You don't even have to mess with the other. You don't even have to mess with the other thrusters. You can just move the gyroscope, and it does everything for you. See, right now I'm slowing down just a little bit because I'm not paying attention to my turn cycle, my turning. But yeah, that's pretty much how that one's set up. When and when you turn it off, of course the air brakes are pretty slow, but for the most part, this is a pretty solid setup. And like I said, it's also got the little Gatling turret right here, and I've also got it set up to automatically be turned on in the event that I don't want to have to keep pressing buttons. I need to pay better attention to what's in front of me instead. So that's pretty cool right there. The next one that I did was my Assassin Bug. Now, I originally built the Assassin Bug for, I never really got around to finishing it before the contest was done. It was for Last Stand Gamer's little contest that he did for dogfights and stuff like that, and that you essentially had like it was like a dogfighting tournament that he was doing, and I can't remember if it was like sponsored by Keen or not, but essentially it was just a dogfighting tournament. And I built the Assassin Bug initially to be the my little entry to the dogfights. It never really got any further than that, so I just kind of left it there as is. So I took that and I turned it into an interdictor, a patrol craft. The idea is that I nicknamed it the design like a Guardian fighter, just because I don't have any other word for like the specific kind of fighter for it. But essentially, it's a police cruiser. It's your little patrol craft that you would have in space. It would be hopped in with the, it would actually be attached with the patrol boat that I built not that long ago, the PS-1 Kennedy. And it would fly around with that. I wanted to build, I wanted to keep the same design so they didn't, I didn't have to change anything. So what I did was I cheated a little bit. I just copied that and edited it as I could. So this is basically just an edited version of this. It's the same ship, but it does run a little better and it has better weapons. Next is the Dragonfly. The Dragonfly is my favorite little interceptor ship. It's like my little X-Wing. I initially built it a long time ago. You can even find the original video with my other fighters as kind of like a showcase kind of build. It wasn't even survival ready. It was just all built just for show. And it looks just like an X-Wing. It's not built like an X-Wing, of course. This is, I don't know. I would think it's a lot more powerful than an X-Wing, just the way that, just with the number of weapons it's got. But that's debatable. I mean, X-Wings are still like one of the best starfighters out there. Of course, this one also has a bunch of other problems now. The original, this exploration mode type, while it was pretty good, it wasn't exactly as fast as I wanted it to. It was supposed to be an interceptor role, and it couldn't go as fast as I wanted it. So that's why I've, just like the original one, I've added the azimuth large thrusters on the back. However, the problem with that is that now the way that it's set up, there's not enough power. So the reactor doesn't give it enough power. It doesn't overload, thank goodness, but I had to add a bunch of batteries on it to make it so that it would have more than 10 minutes of flight time when the boosters are on. So that's a bit of a problem, especially if you have an interceptor. Your interceptor is going to be out there. It's going to be taking out stuff for a while. You don't want it to make continuous trips back to the hangar. Also, these normal rocket pods, they're not normal rocket pods. These are actually the laser-guided mod. I cannot remember his name. I'll probably have it up in text somewhere. But these are the this is the laser-guided, not laser-guided, the guided missile mod that's currently in alpha that got released not that long ago. So, I've been waiting for something like that to appear for a while now. I'm so happy that it did. So that's kind of why they're up there. I haven't really tested them yet. However, I know that at least in single player they work based on some of the videos. I'm not sure if he's got them set up for multiplayer yet. I hope he will soon, because this is going to definitely change the way that fighters and ships are built with these guided missiles. That's gonna be a real game changer right there. Yeah, other than that, it's pretty true to the original. It's got the Gatling guns. It's got the fixed guns as well. The original design used the CSD mod, which unfortunately hasn't been updated yet. I really wish it did. That update was that group of mods was amazing. I really wish they updated it. But yeah. It's got the little turrets, and not turrets, the large fixed guns. Then of course it's got all these different missiles and these compact rocket launchers, which I like. It's a nice mod done by another guy. I gotta remember the names of these, or like script it so that I can remember their names. Again, I'll probably link it in the description. If not, it's on the workshop page, so you can look at it there. All right, so now these ones I went a little different. These three I kept to the original design. These two I didn't, and I did that on purpose because I really don't like the original two designs. And I'll explain why in a minute. This appears the original antlion, not the original, the antlion that I built, and it was basically supposed to be a stealth fighter. The idea would be that this would go in, it would try and stay quiet, stay low, and it would detect enemy, incoming enemy craft, and these antennae will turn on based on whether or not there are enemies nearby, and it will turn on at a radius that only the cockpit could detect, so that I'd know, oh hey, there's a small ship nearby, there's a large ship nearby. It's more of a, it's not a stealth fighter, more like a detector fighter. And while that design was cool, it doesn't necessarily fit with what I'm doing. So I kind of just, I didn't really want to have to like retry that from scratch. So instead, I made the antlion into an attack fighter. Now this is like a, this is like the A-10 Thunderbolt. I'm not sure if you guys, well, it's my favorite plane, so I hope that I've mentioned it at one point. But the what was it called? Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt II was a craft that was built for the Vietnam War that was a close air support craft. It's still being used today by the United States military. I'm not sure if it's being used by the Air Force or not, but it is used today. And it's my favorite plane. It is a really cool plane that can take a hell of a beating and walk away relatively clean. There's been a lot of pictures have been posted of A-10s with incredibly damaged hulls that have come back to base, still flyable, that have been needed repairs, but otherwise they're still relatively stable despite losing half of a wing. And so this is kind of built in that general style. It's a close air support kind of style fighter. It's supposed to be built to take out stations and large ships. And so it also even includes like these little missiles, which I've called stingers because antlions are a bug. They're not like the actual stinger. But yeah, that's kind of the way these were built. And these are basically just like unguided missiles that shoot forward. Originally they were all completely covered, however I couldn't get the merge blocks to work with it. So for the time being they're kind of devoid of that kind of stuff. I may have to fix that in the future, I don't know yet. But for now, this is kind of just the way that I have it built. Maybe in the future I will fix it, but for now I'm kind of stuck. I don't mind that I'm kind of stuck. I do, it does look cool, but yeah, the whole point though is that in the event that it's attacked from below, it's got armor. If it's attacked from the front, it's got armor, so I'm pretty good with it. It looks good. Yeah, and it also has a small turret on top. I don't know why I put it there, I just thought they would look cool, and in hindsight it's actually not that bad of an idea, because ever since they put the vanilla, I'm probably one of the few people who actually likes the vanilla small turrets. They look really cool. I mean, yeah, they're big, but you know, you gotta compensate for something. I mean, this is a game changer kind of thing. These new weapons that they've added, these new official small turret weapons. So you gotta kind of compensate. It's gotta cost something more to have them attached, because beforehand we didn't have these, and now all of a sudden we have them. So yeah. Lastly, there's the Ladybird. The Ladybird stinks. This is my original heavy fighter that I built. That was also vanilla, and it was supposed to be like, yeah, heavy fighter, basically a small ship with the armor to take on a large ship. It stinks. It's not the best fighter. Most of it's kind of garbage. It's kind of garbage. It needs to go. It needs to go. It's not the best. It's not the best fighter craft, and the front is too exposed. The wings, or whatever, the nacelles are too out there. This thing looks more like a living battering ram than an actual ship. So that's kind of why I've changed it a little bit. This is the new Ladybird. It's a lot smaller than the original. It's still a heavy fighter. It still kind of needs specialized hangars in order for it to work. However, it's also not as fast, because that one has 4 large engines. It's not even all completely heavy armor. There's just heavy armor around the surface, and then where the empty space is, it just put it in light armor, even though it's technically got more in there. This one's actually a lot heavier. However, it's better armed. There's no rockets. It's all cannons. It's all Gatling turrets, Gatling guns. The turrets on the side. It's basically your heavy fighter. This is the kind of ship you would have to go in as your vanguard, to go in and help deal with certain enemy fighters, and specifically enemy large ships, the smaller large ships. This is another interdictor kind of style aircraft. I mean, it's fighter craft. I say aircraft. This thing's probably never going to see atmosphere. And speaking of, that's kind of where I wanted to point out. There has been rumors going around that the next update, which is this week, is going to be the planet update. Now, whether or not this is true, this is going to definitely be, this is definitely going to put a damper on my videos a little bit, because one, I want to check it out, bad. And two, and more importantly, is that, excuse me, this is my birthday weekend. I'm going to be turning 24. this Friday. And Friday happens to also be conveniently the, what was it? Conveniently, Friday is supposed to be Keen Software House's anniversary for space engineers. So that's why there's a lot of conjecture that maybe this is going to be the oh, excuse me, gall. I am so sorry. I had ice cream cake earlier. My bad. Anyway, there's been a lot of conjecture going around that Keen might be potentially releasing the new update on their anniversary, which would make sense. So it'll be probably this weekend. There's a lot of other stuff going on. It's going to be Halloween week next week. So I'm going to take a pause on my videos. Again, it's probably going to be a whole week. And then I'm going to try and do some more videos and more builds and stuff like that. It'll give me enough time to be able to know about how plants are going to work, how atmosphere is going to work, so that I can make my next the next step of my project, which is going to be bombers. Bombers, gunships, and dropships. All three of those are going to need to be atmosphere compatible. These ones, not necessarily. Like, the Dragonfly, maybe. It's fast enough where I think it can get away with it. The Antlion, possibly. Because, again, it's also fast enough. It's actually probably faster than the Dragonfly because of its size. But, it actually needs to, be capable of Atmo because of the fact that it is a close air support, or close space support craft. And it's probably going to need to be all set up for that as well. But, yeah. One way or another, though, that gives me enough time to be able to figure out how I'm going to be able to set those fighters up. How I'm going to be able to set all that, not fighters, how I'm going to set all that craft up so that I can post another workshop and it'll be cool. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. So thank you all for watching, and if you guys liked it, please leave a like, comment to let me know what you guys think about these ships. Do you think I could have done something differently with them? Do you think I could do more with them? Would you like to see more fighters? What other spacecraft would you like to see me build in the future? And, yeah, and subscribe if you want to see more showcases. Until next time, this has been KerianH, me out.